Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope that you are feeling really wonderful today. Thank you so much for coming over to my YouTube channel and checking out this video that I'm creating about November of 2020. I'm speaking all about Scorpio season, and we are going to look at some of the astrology transits, intuitive insights, and general practical ideas about this month, the last month of this very crazy and tough to interpret year of 2020. So let's dive right in, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start with just a general overview of what I'm feeling, especially about the Scorpio season side of November. We'll talk just a touch about the Sagittarius part of November, but we're mainly talking about Scorpio season in this video, and then we'll go more into Sag season in the December video. So as an overview, as my general insights are sort of telling me right now, we have a really purpose-filled, creativity-oriented Scorpio and Sagittarius season. It becomes so much more concentrated though, and so much more specific this month. We're really specifying what we want. It feels that we are really changing how we have thought about the status quo of our lives. We're really starting to move through new open doors in November, starting to sense a potential new territory coming in and aligning itself with the context that we've created over the last year. We've been talking all this year about the importance of context and the importance of defining your path in life and defining what makes up your persona and your output and your self, really trying to come to an identity, okay? And that is really going to get even more concentrated in November. So we have an identity crisis for some people that does come up during this time. The astrology transits are still very retrograde, despite Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto being direct, thank goodness. We do still have Neptune, Uranus, Mercury, Mars, Chiron retrograde right now, and we have a lot of things that are still called into question during this November. So I feel that it is transition oriented, but this is not the type of transition that we are accustomed to. We talk all about the energetic theme of transition on this channel. It's one of my favorite things to speak about, but this is different, okay? This certain type of transition is very different. It's more of a returning to a home point, I feel, in such a strong and powerful way that feels transitory. It feels like something that is such a huge shift, but we're actually kind of getting back to a previous energy that is now injected with a new type of life force. So for some people, this could look like returning to the university. For some people, this could look like entering an industry that they were in before, but in a completely new stratosphere of that industry, and now feeling very inspired about that industry in this new context. And as we know, the sign of Scorpio, the archetype of Scorpio, is about transformation. It's about the shifts of life and the potent, visceral moments that inspire some type of reaction or some type of change. Now, I will say that it is, as I was talking about with the transition, different this year because of all the Capricorn energy. It kind of locks that up a little bit and it makes that a bit more material. This whole visceral, reactive, chemical energy of Scorpio is more material this year because, again, Capricorn is not a negative influence for the sign of Scorpio. It's a sextile, which in astrology is a harmonious angle. It's indicative of natural shifting, natural resolution. It's like things sort themselves out with the sextile angle. So relating to the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunct in Capricorn direct, how that channels through during Scorpio season is in a way that is naturally resolute and naturally going to sort itself. Okay, so whereas we went through Libra season in October, in end of September and early October, and we might have gotten really worried or really stuck in a mind game or a feeling of not being able to sort things out, feeling like we are being tested so constantly. And I do feel that there is still a feeling of being tested in November, but things are much more prone to naturally resolving. Though it can be doom and gloom. Scorpio and Capricorn energy together is like very sometimes like dark cloud, and it's not like woe is me. It's not like pitiful in any way, but it is a dark and sometimes depressive or just stern and unnaturally accepting energy sometimes. What do I mean by that? That's a kind of an interesting way to look at things. Somebody with a lot of Scorpio and Capricorn in their chart will really naturally resolve most things in their lives. Like there's going to be weird experiences and very dark, gloomy moments, but at the same time, there's a protectiveness and there's a security about that combination where there are certain things that just are not worries that a lot of people have to deal with. The combination of Scorpio and Capricorn is super powerful. It's like it of course has its own problems, and from the outside it can look very dark and gloomy, but it's very protective and it's very secure and it's very stable when all is said and done. So there's a lot of saying and doing this month, I would definitely say. We are kind of finishing things. We are concluding. We are, by November, it's like so easy to see what's off in your life, what's sticking out like a sore thumb, what is no longer authentic, what is overkill. The theme of overkill is something that is definitely prominent right now too. And yes, Libra season was really good to get us more, balanced out and deciding what we want to do and what we want to put our energy toward, and, really authorizing all of those changes. And now things really do get locked in with Scorpio season. Some very locking in energy where we've signed up for something, or we've, dedicated a certain amount of time or set a time goal. It's a really good time this Scorpio season to set a time goal. Okay. By this year, I'm going to try this goal or this objective. And that feels like one of the best ways to channel the energy of this Scorpio season is to think about time. Okay, to start to get a more intuitive and even transformative grasp on the concept of time and on your own timing and what you are, doing with time and how you're working with time. That's really a great way to think. I think that will, again, be very evocative of the sextile energy, which, again, gets us in the territory of like natural resolution, easier resolution, understanding how we're moving forward. Things don't feel that high pressure or that high stakes if we can really wrap our mind around timing, which makes me think of like Virgo energy, and it makes me think of, September. So it's cool to see the chronology of it all where, we went through like Cancer season where we, really started to just look at the deepest part of ourselves and started to make started to accept changes that we needed to make about our body and about how we were holding our space. And then we went through Leo season and really dealt with like our egos and, what is good and bad. Like, what do we want to feel egoic about? What do we not want to feel egoic about? Then we hit Virgo season and we got really connected to time and really connected to, task management. Then through Libra season, we had a lot of decisions to make, a lot of things to authorize. It was one of the most like authorizing high stakes Libra seasons I've felt in a long time, where hopefully you were able to really take that Virgo energy and apply it and get things, really put together. Very legal implying Libra season we had as well. And now as that all culminates up into Scorpio energy, it's really important to understand the higher, more broad sense of timing that all of that evokes, and the more of the totality of what we want our life force energy to go to. It's really important to think about like what is making our life force energy feel very well output. Because I think that we learn in this Scorpio season, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the only way to invest life force energy is in a way that we enjoy it being output. So super clear will be anything that is not a joy or not kind to be output as energy. So yeah, that does make me think that some of us have career shifts, shift in daily habits, shift in daily, routine, new industries, new life paths, new soul purpose, very possible to get a glimpse of it. And it's not quite materialized yet, but you can get a glimpse of new soul purpose definitely at this time. And how beautiful it is to really walk with that and to really just see what your own potentials could be based on everything that you've built over your entire life. Again, that's another combinative energy of Capricorn and Scorpio, is what has every moment and every aspect of my path led me to. It orients, because the 8th house, 9th house, and 10th house is the climb. It's like the climb to the top, and that's where we're at seasonally right now. So yeah, we're thinking about how we want to climb. We're thinking about what the next, upward battle might be. And I would worry about that too for some people. We can kind of take on more of a battle than we need, or we can have maybe, especially with Mars being retrograde in Aries and moving direct, we'll talk about that also in this video, we can kind of make things too much of a battle, or fix things that aren't broken, or get really kind of neurotic with what we want to be our goals, objectives, and accomplishments. But I don't think that it's horrible, because we learn so much through how we set those this month, and everything really does feel like it naturally resolves itself. So that feels really wonderful. Is there anything else I want to talk about in the overview before I start talking about transits? Okay, yes, I do want to touch just a tad on crazy people, okay? This is important to think about in this time, because it is a pressurized time. Again, the energy of Scorpio and Capricorn is not a forgiving energy. It doesn't brush things off. It doesn't forget or forgive easily. So mistakes or errors or inability to let go of like worst case scenarios, it does really make a lot of people's psychological disposition more acute or more at the edge than maybe it's ever been. So that's why it's so important, if we're not feeling well, it's such an important time to go to therapy, or to be able to speak, or to be journaling. Like if we're not feeling like balanced after Libra season, we really should. It's important to now resolve that maybe in a professional way, or to look toward that. But you have to really watch out for pushing people at this time. It is a very personalized journey, okay, in this Scorpio season. And a lot of people want to pull it out, and they want to, make it more about society, or make it more about, other people, or like peer groups or something. I do see that, because again, we're at the top of the zodiac and we're climbing up to that. So we're getting so outside of ourselves. But I do think that you have to be really careful, because especially with like people that you have a long context with, because it's unlikely that you really meet many new people right now, period. That's coming, but it's not now. So you have to watch out for pushing people. People can go off the edge. You can see sides of people that you've never seen. You can see, pretty worrisome things. Also, there is a potential for rudeness, or a potential for just meanness as well during this Scorpio season. And if you encounter that, it is really important to think about why, why is that the case? Why has that type of thing been manifested? Because I think everybody might encounter it just a touch. And it can even be a bit tricky, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio as well at the beginning of the month, which we're about to talk about. People can get try to play mind games, or try to manipulate, or try to scare people. Even the scare tactics are going to be a thing too. So we have to really get tough. Capricorn and Scorpio coming together is also about toughness, strength, resolve, having an unwavering sense of self. So if we lack that unwavering sense of self, it is very easy to feel destroyed by this period of time, or to feel lacking of anything but self, okay? Which is a beautiful experience to have, actually, because that really makes you stronger, and that grows the self to this unwavering sense of strength that is wanted right now. And for those of us who have grown that, and who have been able to create some version of that, those of us who have are going to really get to that next level, or see what that next goal or objective is, and apply it to that versus the self. It's either like you're already there and you're applying it to the next thing, or you're kind of having to start over here and gain it and create that unwavering sense of selfhood. Okay. So that's really the utmost asset to have right now, is just an unwavering sense of self, steel resolve. Okay. It feels really vital to get through this season healthily, that steel sense of resolve and unwavering sense of self. So if you're feeling delicate, fragile, if you're feeling energetically like slippery, or like you are very delicate, because there's a lot of us who are there right now too. That is a hard thing for right now. And I do feel that you'll be nurtured. I feel that, the universe is holding space for you. I feel that the universe protects people like that inherently, though it is, every one of us has to kind of at least learn what steel resolve means, or how we could be more unwavering in our sense of self and be more forgiving to ourselves too. It's just very sharp. The energy is very sharp. And it's like, it's popping like balloons is what I see as like a psychic image I get. It's like a needle popping balloons. It's like the sharpest energy I've felt in a long time. And that's really good in some ways, great time, for that natural energetic surgery that happens. It's with Mars being in Aries and retrograde moving direct this season. I do watch out for sharp objects. Okay. Knives, cutting, if you're like cutting vegetables in the kitchen, be careful. Anything sharp, keep it safe. Okay. That's just a very traditional type of astrological message of a Mars retrograde in Aries, especially during a Scorpio season, where both sides of Mars are represented, and both are retrograde, having Mercury retrograde in Scorpio and Mars RX in Aries. But anyway, again, to conclude on the overview, if you feel very soft and if you feel very delicate, or if you feel like, you're the courtesan amongst aristocrats, this is a very prominent type of energy right now, where we're snatched up and placed into a different type of circle. That could be tough, harsh, and difficult, although it empowers you in a new type of way as well. And what I'm really trying to touch on here is just feeling out of place, or feeling as if something is missing, okay? Something is vacant, something has not gone right. It's 2020, this feeling is everywhere. Where it's so easy. And in Scorpio season is what heals this type of thing, where you feel like there's a vacancy, or you feel like you don't know how this thing happened. You don't know how that breakup happened. You don't know how that person left you like that. Can't figure it out. Can't put it together. Can't reconcile the reality of your experience. This is important, maybe the most important thing I'm saying in the video. A feeling of not being able to reconcile the reality of your experience really has to be understood this Scorpio season. That's a way to get that unwavering sense of self. That's a way to get that steel resolve this season, is to put two and two together, and also not to hold yourself in that for too long, because a lot of us are also going to see where we've messed up. A lot of us are going to see maybe some of the more toxic aspects of our own personalities, as is always possible in Scorpio season, or the toxic parts of someone else's personality as well. And as we see those things, we have such an important need to identify ourselves in it and heal through it, and to start that new narrative that gets us more in alignment with who we know our higher self is. So really, really incredible opportunities to leave behind ancient, problematic, toxic cycles. And also to not sacrifice yourself for the unknown quandaries of others as well. That's important. If you've been left by somebody, or if you've had a breakup, or if you've had a disappearance of some kind, it's like also kind of like a hall of mirrors. I felt that when I was doing the T-Chat on Patreon for this week, which you should check out. I'll link that in the top right-hand corner, as well as in the description box below. The Patreon page is everything. You need to jump over there and get the membership, because it is just such a great community tool, and we love coming there every week for bonus content and weekly T-Chats. But I was talking about how it's like a hall of mirrors this season. Things look very different one day than they do the next day. And depending on our perspective, we can see things in so many different ways, and we're trying to reconcile that, and it needs to really be sorted started before Sagittarius season comes through and just like rockets us into the next thing. Jupiter is getting so close to being out of Capricorn, and the sun is going to come into Sag. Mercury is going to come into Sag. It's going to join up with that south node, and Jupiter is going to be right behind it and moving really fast, barreling through the last parts of Capricorn, just dying to get to Jupiter in Aquarius, which it loves, the sign of Aquarius. Like the sign of Aquarius is like nothing else for Jupiter because it gets it out of Capricorn. So Sagittarius season is going to come in and it's going to blast us off to the next chapter, really. And it still takes a bit of time. But we're getting towards like December 20th where we get that huge Aquarian injection. We're getting closer and closer. It's still October as I'm filming this video, but it's getting closer and closer. I mean, I can't believe it's November already. Anyway, as I was speaking about, we have to be prepared for that blast off during Sagittarius season. And we'll talk all about that once we get there. But that's why we don't want to procrastinate in Scorpio season. It's why we've, ever since like June and July, it's been very legit, high-powered spiritual time because there's been so much to get in order. There's been so much to reconcile. There's been so much taking stock and so much, orientating ourselves to what we've created and what our context is, that we then need to pack the bags and get ready to blast off into the next chapter by Sag season. So we have like this time in Scorpio season, which feels really beautiful to me, to just experience what life has led and where we rested ourselves at this time is important to remember in the future too. So again, time is really interesting right now, and naturally resolute, naturally conducive to time in the future, setting those time-oriented goals. So don't overdo it for yourself. Don't get freaked out about things. Again, if people are being crazy or rude or mean, don't hold space for it because it is prevalent. But if that has come into your life or into your space, understand those aspects of yourself as well and try to resolve them, okay? Just through repeating something or through, introducing yourself back to the way that the past was for a bit of time here in Scorpio season is not bad, okay? And that will actually segue me into the next chapter of the video. So I'm going to speak about the transits during Scorpio season. So not just about the intuitive messages of Scorpio season, but about the other transiting aspects. So that's a perfect segue. I want to talk about starting the Scorpio season with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio conjunct the sun. So that's what we have right as we step into Scorpio season, is the sun moves right up to conjunct the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. That really, again, has an effective time. I think that the past will now redefine itself and transform. I think that we will see undeniably toxic people of our past as that, and not as something that is hyped up, packaged up, and turned into something that it's not. So vital it is to figure out this season what you've played up to yourself. So playing up somebody's good characteristics from the past, when that was only a very small percentage of what they actually offered to your experience. And that is something that Scorpio really rules over, is the truth, but also how just a small concentrated positive or negative can really transform the entirety of an experience. So in an abusive relationship, for instance, you have this very small amount of moments that are just so great and so positive and so nurturing, but a 95% abusive relationship. And it's crazy to see that just that potent 5% of incredible nurture can actually shift the tone of the entire relationship for maybe the next decade of your life, even after that person has left. So one of the most rewarding things right now as we move to that Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is the ability to see the more wholesome percentage, okay? And that is another way that Scorpio connects to Capricorn. Capricorn does give Scorpio a bit of a reality check. Scorpio can get disillusioned sometimes. It can get totally wacky with things where it might play up that 5% that's good and shirk the 95% bad. And Capricorn won't tolerate that at all. And Capricorn does have a type of seniority over Scorpio. And, Scorpio can try to validate elevate things through those small percentages, but it doesn't really work this season. And we're going to have that realization of that as we move into the beginning of the season. And that's what that transit means, the Sun conjunct Mercury, because our truth and our vitality conjoins the conscious mind. So seeing things for what they are is an ability. Seeing things for how they have fallen, or how they lay, or how they exist, and deciding how you want to make your reality around that is very great, powerful time to forge your own reality. But it's going to also come through like what isn't right in your life or what isn't good. Again, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is a tough one because it does show all of the problem areas. It shows all of the poison. It shows all of the toxicity, and it makes it so frenetic and so conscious. And as the Sun conjoins it, it makes it have to become reality. So we have like that choice right around, October 24th and October 25th. We have an important choice to start to see things a little bit differently and to make things more positive and kind for ourselves. And Mercury then moves back and retrogrades, and it turns direct on November 3rd. So we have from about that time of October 24th until November 3rd to see what we've not really thought well about, or what has been maybe a toxic cycle of thinking or a toxic cycle of remembering. What we've been disillusioned over, okay, as that is, we've also got Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and it's not an orb to this, but I do think there's disillusionment. I do think that there's like mind games. I think that it's very imperative but difficult for us to get to that true center point that we need to get to now. So then by November 3rd and moving forward, Scorpio energy is now represented by a direct Mercury, which will give us a much more precise forward-moving idea. And it takes it a little while to actually get into Scorpio. It's going to be direct in Libra, right on that cusp. But that's going to actually be really nice. It's going to be a nice gift that we will have Scorpio energy direct as we finish Scorpio season with Mercury. And it will zip through Scorpio, and by Sag season, it's going to already be getting, close to Sag. It goes into Sagittarius on December 1st. And of course, Mercury is debilitated in Sagittarius. And there is going to be, and this isn't a December video, but it's as it relates to November, it's important to really do a lot of important things, or to get our mind straight, because we're going to have kind of a very debilitated early December with a debilitated Mercury, a debilitated Jupiter trying to finish up, a debilitated Venus as well, Venus going through Scorpio. And yeah, so we have a few difficult human archetypes that come in right in the beginning of December, but quickly clean themselves up through as we move on. But that's why it's so vital this Scorpio season to really get clear on how you feel and where you stand, and overcome some toxic thought patterns and thought cycles, Yes, but we'll talk more about December when we get there. So that's a little bit about Mercury for this month. What I want to talk about next is Mars. Okay, so we are truly pioneering with Mars. It is stationing direct at 15 degrees of Aries on November 14th, and it will stay stationary until November 25th. So yes, again, November 15th to November 22nd feels vital in timing, because we're going to have direct Mars and direct Mercury. So we start the month of November with all debilitated Mars energy. So having Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and also Mars retrograde in Aries. The two Mars signs are starting out in a debilitated jaunt, but they end in this season direct, and neither of them are debilitated in that sign. So we suddenly flip the switch from a kind of a tough type of Scorpio energy to a very healthy, capable Mars and Scorpio energy. So and it's also interesting, I think, that it's exactly halfway through Aries. It's stationing direct, Mars is stationing direct on November 14th in 15 degrees of Aries, which is exactly halfway through the most potent, most concentrated part of Aries. So there's a sportsman-like way of going through this. There's a champion, there's a pioneer, there's somebody who is getting much stronger. If this is hitting your chart in any way, especially, somebody who's really growing, and somebody who, despite all of these difficult moments, has emerged much more conditioned and much stronger and ready to take on something new. So that will be an incredible energy to have this month as well. And then we do have at the end of Scorpio season, Venus moving from Libra into Scorpio. So right as the season is ending, we have a new Scorpio energy being shown and being represented. So yes, even though Scorpio season ends, we will have Scorpio energy that remains until mid-December when Venus goes into Sagittarius. Again, Venus is debilitated in Scorpio, so it's not been a good time really for love or relationships or for dating this entire year, really, and that's not changing in this month of November. Anytime Venus or Mars is retrograde, it is a negative time for dating, and either time that they are in one of their debilitated signs too, transiting. So Mars is retrograde until mid-November, and then we have, I guess, 5 days until Venus goes into its debilitated sign of Scorpio. So I guess there's a 5-day window for us to meet a soulmate or something. Although I doubt that might happen, but you never know. And even sometimes in debilitated moments of those planets, there are exceptions. But I just really feel that we have so many more personal things to be working on and more purpose-oriented things. Although there are a select few who will still have nice experiences with others. But if dating or partner seeking is the main focus, it's probably covering up something more deep that needs to be resolved at this time. So it's important food for thought. Also, ending this season with Venus in Scorpio kind of alludes to me that some of us are not like learning the lessons, so the Scorpio energy kind of stretches out, but that does give us extra time. You know, it gives us an extra space and an extra few weeks to have these scorpionic shifts or transformations. And that's one good thing about Venus in Scorpio, is it can actually soften and make more pleasurable, more tough Scorpio transformations. So any type of tough loss or breakup or change can actually be softened at the end of this month and moving forward. So try to keep it as soft as possible. It's an incredible Scorpio season, and I think that we've been able to talk about some of the best parts of it. In conclusion, I think that the best thing for this season is to just really communicate what the facts of your life are and see where your position is in correlation to your higher purpose and your higher self. And if there's any issue there, if there's anything out of place, such a wonderful time it is to just get it all together and to make any adjustments that get you more in alignment with where you are looking to go in the future. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. I so hope you enjoyed the video. It's been a nice long chat about November of 2020. We are coming through, and I will be continuing to have live premieres on the channel. Keep tuned to the community tab and make sure that you've hit the subscribe button and have turned on bell notifications so you're updated for updates from the channel. And whenever I post a video, you'll get a notification, or you can also check back to the community tab. I always post about premieres in advance, and I post on Twitter as well about them, and Patreon. For those of you who haven't joined the Patreon page yet, I so hope you will if you have the chance, because I do early and ad-free readings over there, extended monthly readings, and the best part, I think, is the weekly tea chats, which is just a bonus piece of content that I do every week. I forecast the week ahead, and I take viewer requests as well, and it's a great way for us to all come together. Also, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, I highly recommend it. It's totally free, and it's just a great way to engage in this community. It has the best vibe, and we have a great time over there. So yes, thank you everyone so much for being here, and comment below. Let me know how the month is treating you. Let me know what you think about the transits and what you thought about this video, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Much love. See you soon. Bye.